Hey guys, today we're going through my video game pickups for the month of June 2022, and let me tell you right now, to me, this is the best month ever for pickups for me, at least for like a very long time. This month is going to be the best, so let's not waste any time, let's get into it. Right, so like I said, let's not waste time here, let's just get to the pickups here, because we got a lot of really good stuff here. So this first one we'll go through our PS5 stuff because I know you guys like this stuff. This is from my local GameStop because I had like a coupon for the month, and plus I was surprised that this game has been like discounted so much already. Grand Theft Auto 5. Yeah, I've not had a copy of Grand Theft Auto 5 like physically since forever. Like, I've had digital versions of the game for the longest time, back on the PS3, PS4, and PC as well, but yeah, this is the first time I ever got a physical copy of it, and yeah, this version, like, it's super cheap now. Like, say like the game was maybe like, what, $40 when it first came out? It's like more than half off at this point now, so yeah, if you guys care enough to get, once again, GTA 5 again, well, probably now's the time for it. Alright, the rest of the stack here, this is all from limited run games. The first one is Sir Love-A-Lot. This is number 13 of limited runs releases for the PS5. If I recall, this game, it seems to be like one of those platforming puzzle games where, say like Super Meat Boy, but it's like much slower paced, though. It's one to like you take your time with and all. I think that's what this game was. I don't remember much of it, but I really love that cover art right there, so yeah, that's that. Right, next one here, I'm really happy to have this. This is such a landmark title. Quake 1 specifically. This is like a remastered version of Quake 1 where like they have completely reworked the game's graphics from the ground up to support like ray tracing, and if you already had this game on like PC, then you pretty much got an upgraded version for free. But yeah, if you haven't played Quake 1, it's still such a fun, fast-paced first-person shooter that has a lot of history behind it, because I do believe this was the first game ever, this or Quake 2, where, at least for PCs, this was the first game ever that required a dedicated graphics card in order to make the game run. I'm pretty sure it's either like this game or Quake 2 back then was the first one that required that. And I love that it's kind of repeating history once again, that in order to like properly play this game, it's really recommended that you have an RTX graphics card, but the consoles themselves, they have ray tracing capabilities in them. So yeah, nonetheless, really wanted to get that because it's pretty nice to have a physical of Quake. Next one, I believe these next two here, these were like, I'm sure these were 6th generation games at some point, and this in recent years they've just gone back and did remasters of these games. That is Blood Rain Revamped. I'm sure Blood Rain itself, like I said, was some type of game series that was back on like the PS2, GameCube, OG Xbox. I've not played these games at all, I can't tell you anything about them, but because it is part of the PS5's limited runs or releases here, had to pick it up. Then speaking of which, we have Blood Rain 2 Revamped. So, as it implies, the sequel to Blood Rain 1 that also came out during the 6th generation. And yeah, that's all I can say on it. I don't have much to say on this game series. I would like to give it a try one of these days because it does look pretty interesting. Alright, these next few here is all part of the same series. I'm really happy to finally have these because I love this series so much. Shantae Half Genie Hero Ultimate Edition. So the Shantae games, if you guys know this series' reputation, when it comes to physical releases for this game series, they always just end up being very expensive. The only exception really is Half Genie Hero, because this is the one game where they got all the funding from originally when this was a Kickstarter game to where they were able to like publish this, get a big publisher for it, so therefore they could print a lot of physical copies of this game. But Other than that, though, this series just, for the most part, is just so notorious for its physical releases are just extremely expensive. I mean, look at Shantae for the Game Boy Color, right? But yeah, regardless, I love this series so much. It is one of my favorite indie franchises and one of my favorite Metroidvania series as well. I just love Shantae's character. She's so cool that for the PS5, since Limited Run is going through the series to make physical releases of all the games, I am not missing out on these at all. Speaking of which, we also got Shantae Risky's Revenge. Risky's Revenge, to me, it's like the second worst game of the franchise. It's just really, really short. Still a very, very good game, but just comparing it to the other games, just the others are just objectively better compared to this one, but hey, nonetheless, had to get a physical of the game in some capacity. Now, this isn't a game, but this is just something to complete with the Shantae series. It's a slipcover for when I get all of the Shantae physical games on PS5, I'll be able to put them into this slipcover right here and just have them like a nice container, a nice display for them as well too. Though one thing to note though, there's like a big crease going across the front box here, which I've like already submitted like a support ticket to Limited Run saying it's like, hey, this thing arrived damaged and I would really like a replacement if at all possible. Alright, and to finish things off, I also got the Risky's Revenge Collector's Edition. Really just wanted to get this because like, I just love Shantae. I want like all editions of it if possible. And an interesting thing to note, for at Limited Run, sometime this year, I think they said they are going to reveal a statue or like a figure of Shantae herself, that if you get all the collector's editions or limited editions of all the games on PS5 through their website, they all come with like a little standee figure that with the figure that'll come out eventually of Shantae, you'll be able to take those standees from these editions and put them on the figure. Not sure if I would do that, but I am going to get that statue regardless though. But that is really cool that they're doing that, to really just like, if you like get all your standee figures in that thing, then you got such a valuable art piece right there. But that'll be difficult for me to decide because I don't want to open these, truth be told, but hey, we'll see. We'll see how it goes though. Alright, last one, of course, we saw the game earlier, we also got the limited edition of Half Genie Hero, Ultimate Edition. Same exact reason with, you know, Risky's Revenge. I want to get like the limited editions as well, so that way I just have just all physical releases of the games whenever they come out, as long as it's affordable, of course. And yeah, I'm just really, really happy to have all of these here because these are pretty awesome. I freaking love these games a lot. Alright, give me 1 second, I'm going to clear up space here because we got a lot of stuff here, so give me 1 minute. Alright, sorry about that, just I need to clear up some space here because, you know, got a lot of stuff here and don't want to risk like knocking anything down here, especially later on for the stuff that we got. So this stack here, I used to have all these games, right, but there was a time back in, I think it was like, of like 2011 to 2013, when my brother was moving out for college purposes. He, for some reason, I decided to like let him have my entire Wii and PS3 game set back then. That in like recent years, just his hands are just really tied up with work and all that. And I asked like, hey, do you mind if I have all this stuff back? Mainly like the systems, which you see right here, the PS3 Slim as well as a black Wii right here. That wanted to get these back so that way I can do some modification stuff to it, especially with the Wii to have like Project Plus on there and just a few other fun projects that I want to try out with these systems. So yeah, those are those systems, glad to have those back. And booting up the PS3, like, oh my god, we still have like some of our original stuff back there from like a decade ago at this point. So yeah, that was quite a trip to go and see all that stuff is still being on there. But here's some of the games. This wasn't all of them because I'll explain like later on that I did like go to Chaotic Games when I was on my way back after picking them up to like drop off stuff that I just already have, so there's just no point in me in like having these. But ones that I did keep, and some of these I'll also be getting rid of, but that'll be to a different store though. But to start out with is Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. This edition right here, you see on the front of the case, it came with an instrumental soundtrack CD inside of it, which I know I had. I used to keep it in my old car back then, but it's not in. It's like missing for some reason. I don't remember what happened to it though, but if I can't find it, I'll just like buy a copy on eBay or something like that. But yeah, this game, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, it's still a very, very fun hack and slash game that is worth your time playing. You can get this game really, really cheap too nowadays. Next one, I didn't have this, so I know my brother definitely picked this up after he got the system for himself. Final Fantasy X 10-2 HD Remaster. I did get, I know back then I got like the Vita version, the PS4 version, and also the PC version, so this game has been ported to like every platform these days. But yeah, I'll definitely keep this one here because just anything Final Fantasy related I am going to keep. Now this one here, I remember that I got this game for Christmas, and I initially enjoyed this game, but just looking back on it, it's like it's not a good game at all. And this is one that I'll be getting rid of because I already have a copy of this on my shelf down here, but I don't want this version because of this big fat sticker on here. Resident Evil 6. There, you see like that big Walmart sticker right there? Good God, that is pretty hideous. But yeah, Resident Evil 6, this was like the first version of it that I played back then, this exact copy. And yeah, it doesn't hold up at all. It's still very, very mediocre. It's not a Resident Evil game. It is an insult for being called a Resident Evil game. But it can be a fun time with friends though, of course, but Resident Evil game, it's terrible. And there's another one that my brother got, and I'll be keeping this one here. Sniper Ghost Warrior 2. This seems to be very similar to like Sniper Elite, if you guys ever played those games, but I've not played this series at all though, so hey, maybe I'll visit this one of these days. And this game, I believe I have this one, I'm not entirely sure, but I think like I'll keep this version because this is like the one that I played back then. Batman Arkham Origins. I think this game gets too much hate than what it deserves. This is still like a very well-made game. Just people like just tore it apart for really just being like Arkham City 2.0 or like half of Arkham City, because like the lower half, I think like either the upper or lower half of the map in this game is straight from Arkham City. But this game still has like a very, very good Batman story. It's still a lot of fun to play. The music's great as well. It's still the same Arkham gameplay of like the combat and the stealth sections as well. So yeah, this is a game, it's still very, very worth playing today that you guys shouldn't miss out on if you're a big fan of this series. Right, this is another one where similar to RE6, where I do have this game, but this sticker, I don't want it at all. Tomb Raider 2013. This was the first copy of Tomb Raider 2013 that I played, and man, this game was awesome back then. Don't know if it holds up still to this day. I'm sure it does though, because this game still had like some pretty cool moments in it, and is like a really nice retelling of Lara Croft too. But yeah, this version like I'm getting rid of because I do not need Walmart on my stuff. Alright, now the rest of these games here, except for like the last few here, yeah, I had like all these games back then, but I'm getting rid of most of these because this is all like shovelware garbage that we're just going to go through these real quick. These are all Wii games here, and to start out is Price is Right. AMF Bowling Pin Busters. Game Party 2. And yeah, nothing worth talking about, just shovelware garbage. That stuff will be going away. Now, the rest of these games here, I'll definitely keep these because there's some value to these for me. And my God, the lights were flashing in my apartment there for a second. All right, the first one is Raving Rabbids. This was the very first time we've seen the Rabbids from Ubisoft, and pretty underwhelming introduction to them, because this is nothing but a party game of like mini games that you'll play like once and then never again, probably. If you do want like a better version of Rayman Raving Rabbids, I would recommend the DS game. I played that back then, and that was a really good platforming game, which is how the Rabbids should have been, a Rayman platforming game. That's how it should have been to begin with. Alright, this next one, I'm only keeping this because I did play this a lot back then, and this was my very first game into the series that nowadays I don't play anymore. I don't support this series anymore, but hey, there's a lot of memories with this copy right here. Call of Duty Black Ops. Yeah, this was my first introduction to Call of Duty, because I didn't have a PS3 until like 2012. That I had a Wii for most of like the mid-2000s, unfortunately. But I did have a great time with this game, though. It got lots of fun multiplayer matches out of it that I'm definitely going to keep this for the memories. Same for this game as well, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, just same thing with Black Ops there. I just played this a lot back then. It was just plenty of good fun with it. And this one I'm only keeping it because of just the name of this and just like the game series that it's from is Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games. Like, I'm just keeping this because, like I said, it's just a Mario Sonic game, so might as well. It's a Nintendo made game and all that. A really crappy one because, you know, these are nothing but really cheap, boring sports mini games that is like so boring that you'll play once and then never again. That's all there is to it. Alright, next one is Rayman Raving Rabbids TV Party. I do remember this is a better game compared to the original Raving Rabbids on the Wii that I showed there earlier. First off, this does have like pretty entertaining cutscenes of Rayman interacting with the Rabbids, and the mini games I do remember, they were plenty of fun in this one too. So there's some value to this game here, that it's still like fun to play with your friends every once in a while. Alright, these last three here, these are, believe me, way more interesting titles. Alright, this first one, I did rent this a lot back then, that I'm finally glad to finally own a copy of this game. The House of the Dead 2 and 3 Return. Like I rented this game a lot back then, that I already played House of the Dead plenty of times before this game, and always loved the series since then. But yeah, I'm just really happy to finally have a copy of this game here, that every once in a while I'll pop this in and just play it. Alright, next one. I used to have this game, but I don't know what happened to my copy of it back then. Like, I've always had the case of it, but the disc was always missing. So, finally just got it back. Super Mario Galaxy. I did have Galaxy 2 for the longest time, but my original copy of Galaxy 1, like I said, just went missing. I can't tell you why, though, but nonetheless, very happy to have this game back. Still a very, very fun Mario game to play to this day, but I do recommend, like, play the Switch version if you did get Mario All-Stars, the 3D All-Stars on the Switch, because that's objectively the better version nowadays, but hey, the original one, still very, very cheap, and still a lot of fun to this day. Right, last one here. I got this from Chaotic Games of my trip there recently, of when I went to, like I said, trade in the other games that you weren't saying that I got back from my brother, and this is just one of the games that I ended up picking up because I've been on the look for this game for some time. It's Cursed Mountain. I just remember seeing this in like Hidden Gem Wii games, as well as like Hidden Gem horror games as well. Like, I know the first time I heard of this game was on a Metal Jesus Rocks YouTube channel when they were talking about horror games. But yeah, I look forward to trying out this game. It does look pretty interesting, so yeah, glad I got that one. Alright, this next deck here, these next two games right here, this is from a local pawn shop that I went to for the first time in my town here. And what's interesting, this pawn shop was located like a minute down the road from the office that I work at. I didn't know about until my coworker told me about it and say that they had games there. So went there and this month and got some 2 really good things here. First one is Contra for the NES. This is the better Contra game on the NES in my opinion, and the one that is the more valuable one. It's still a very affordable title and all that, but it's just more pricier than the other games, of course. Still so much fun to play, especially multiplayer. I played this a lot back then with my family too, that I'm just glad to finally have like an original authentic copy of it. Okay, now this game right here, if you guys saw my short that I made on this game right here, you already know what this is, but let me just put things in perspective. I paid only like $5.60 for this game. Now, there is a problem with this game. It is missing the manual, unfortunately, but regardless though, I'll gladly take that, because if you know what this game is, this is like one of the most expensive PS3 games. That is Africa. Yeah, Africa, as strange as it seems, yeah, this game is really hard to find and very expensive too for PS3 games. Like, if you want to say, like, for just normal standard release games on the PS3, this is like maybe like number 2 or 3 on like price charting's list for most valuable PS3 games. And they just had this at the pawn shop for, like I said, $5. I will gladly take that. Like I said, sadly it is missing the manual right there. This is my original receipt, and the disc is in there too. But I'll gladly take that though for this game that is between like $150 to $200 really. So yeah, quite a great pickup there at a pawn shop. That, yeah, this will be like my story to tell of like, hey, a game that I picked up for like $5 and yet it's like really like much more expensive than that. Alright, now this next deck, this is the rest of the games that I got from Chaotic Games, besides like Curse Mountain right there that you saw. And this first one, I cannot like find this game almost anywhere online or any other place. That as a result, it is like valuable, but thanks to the store credit I got, like I definitely got this game for a good price in my opinion. That is Ragnarok Tactics. I don't know much about this game at all. I believe I'm sure it's related to the same series of, what was that game called, like Ragnarok Odyssey Ace or something like that. I'm sure it's part of the same series, but yeah, like I said, when I was looking this game up while I was shopping there online to see if just like to compare prices, I like cannot find a copy of this game open at all. The only ones I can find is like sealed copies, and there's only like 2 or 3 listings on eBay. So this isn't like the most expensive PSP game, but it is in like the top 10 from what I looked into. But it's one that just doesn't show up often at all though. So yeah, might as well pick that up because and since it's an RPG, like I want to like get it because I love RPGs as is. So yeah, definitely glad to get that. All right, this next one, I used to have this back then, but somehow got rid of it, and I'm really happy to have this game once again. Resident Evil 4 on the PS2. This was my very first version of Resident Evil 4 that I played, and I still remember how I originally got that game. Was an Easter gift from my grandmother back in like 2006. It would have been the best Easter egg gift I have ever gotten, let me tell you, because this is in my top 10 favorite games of all time. I want to own like every version of this game that I've already got like plenty of back behind me on the shelves for like other platforms. But oh my god, like, and if you guys saw like earlier this month, we finally saw first footage of the Resident Evil 4 remake, and oh my god, it looks so good. Leon looks gorgeous, oh my god. And I also love that fans are now starting to care about Ashley once again, even though for me I don't think she was that bad for like all my times playing the game. But yeah, Resident Evil 4, like the original game, like still play it. It is such a phenomenal masterpiece of a third-person survival horror game that should not be missed at all. And plus, because Capcom just loves to re-release this game all the time, it's readily available on like all modern platforms as well. So yeah, I don't care if you're waiting for the remake. Pick up the original game and play it. It's still such a phenomenal game. Seriously, go pick it up. It's good. Alright, next games right here is Jak 2. I've not played the Jak series back then. The only like PS2 platforming games I played back then was just the Ratchet and Clank games and Pac-Man World 2. Those are like the only ones that I played back then. But yeah, since like the Jak games, they're still relatively affordable, it's like, why not? I'm gonna pick it up. This game, I played this a lot back then. I never beat it though, but I hope I will one of these days, and I got a copy of it once again. And I'm not kidding, this is such a very, very good game. You may laugh at first, but I'm not lying, this is a really, really good game. Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. To give you an idea what this game is like, think of it as like maybe a Mario 64 like game, but you're exploring like the town that the game takes place in, and you do like puzzle like stuff, puzzle like missions for like the given area that you're in, and this will allow you to say like unlock other areas in the town, and you'll also unlock some equipment that you can use in like previous areas as well that you couldn't previously reach to and all that. I'm not kidding, like this game is a lot of fun that you shouldn't miss out on this game. It's such a good like puzzle platforming third-person shooter game. It's like a weird genre what this game falls into, but yeah, like I said, pick it up. It's really, really cheap. It'll be a fun time, I promise you that. This game I had back then, I loved this game, and this also helped to get my interest in Batman more and more. That is Batman Vengeance. This is based on like the Batman animated series, as you could probably tell by the art style of Batman and the villains back there. But this has like a really, really good story of Batman, and the gameplay, while the combat is really unfair, and the enemies, I swear, they have like so much iframes of blocking your attacks, and they can just like dogpile you like really badly. But putting that aside, though, the rest of the game though, it's still lots of fun. Highly recommend you guys pick this game up. Right, next one is Devil May Cry 2. I'm sure I stated in like previous videos, I've not played the Devil May Cry series at all, but because like the original games, like they're still very affordable, like why not? I'm gonna pick those up. Speaking of which, Devil May Cry 1. So same thing with previous game there, just not played the series at all. That hopefully one day when I do have time, I'll finally go back and play it. Though I think for these games I'm going to play the HD collection on the PS3, because mainly those versions probably look a lot better. But I did hear of some like glitches or like some technical issues that they have. But whenever I do finally decide to like get in the series, like I'll decide like how to go about it. Alright, this game, I used to have this back then. Me and my brother, we played this game a lot back then. And I'm really happy to have a copy of this back, and plus in a lot better condition, because I know, like, our edition back then, like, disc was just, like, badly damaged and all that. But this game, it's Dragon Ball Z Budokai 1. Yeah, this game, if you guys haven't played it, or just the Budokai series overall, it's such a fun fighting game series that does do like a quick like retelling of the original Dragon Ball Z anime. But if you guys want like a fighting game out of that with all of its original characters, it's got all of its original voice actors too, then you guys won't be disappointed with this game. It's such a very, very fun game. It holds up very well still, that I'm very glad to have it once again. Okay, next here is all GameCube stuff here. Now, been like on somewhat of a GameCube binge lately, but mostly I want to get more into Japanese stuff, which is what this first few things are here, because Japanese versions of GameCube games are much more affordable than our North American counterparts, but I'm only going for ones of like the Nintendo made stuff, of course, though. But nonetheless, though, want to get these titles here, and I'm really happy for the last one I got here. But once we get to that, first one here is Zelda Four Swords Adventures. The Link Cable Bundle is a Japanese version of it. Main reason I got this is well, to start out, like I wanted like a Japanese version of you know, Four Swords, but I also like needed a GBA link cable for my system. Like I want an official one from Nintendo, not like a third-party one, because I'm just like that. But yeah, this was still like very, very affordable compared to our North American version of this bundle here, which is like over $200, which no thank you. So yeah, I'll gladly take this here. It came with a standard copy of the game as well as the link cable inside, which is all in like beautiful, amazing condition. Alright, next game here. This is a really interesting one in the Japanese lineup of GameCube games. It is Legend of Zelda Collection. Now, you may know that we did get this game here in the States, which our version is this one right here. The Zelda Collection, which has the original Legend of Zelda, Zelda 2, Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask, as well as it had like short like videos of like all the games being played, as well as a trial version or a demo of Zelda Wind Waker, because these came out like before Wind Waker was first released, right? But what's really interesting is for like the Japanese version for the way like you had to get the game originally. So for like our version here, there was multiple ways that you could get this game. One was for like a holiday season. I think this game was bundled with the GameCube, which looking back, that's probably how my cousin got this copy of the game back then. Which for that one, that's how I first played and beaten most of the Zelda games that this game comes with. But regardless, other than that, the other ways you could get it was if you registered like other Nintendo first-party games on the GameCube, and then they would mail this game to you. Or if you, I think if you like resubscribed to Nintendo Power, you would also get this game. And also if you redeemed Club Nintendo points, I think like they would send this game to you. So a variety of ways you could have gotten this game, but regardless, it was never available in a retail store for you to pick up until like nowadays for third-party sellers, of course. But yeah, like that's like the methods we had for getting this game. But for the Japanese version right here, from what I understand, the only way you could get this in Japan was you had to be a Club Nintendo member, and you had to redeem it with points, and I forgot what the amount was, but regardless, that's what you had to do. And I think it was only available to redeem it for maybe like a month or two. It was a really limited time. And as far as I know, there's no other way you could have gotten this game other than that, like I said. So very, very limiting for Japanese gamers to like get this game compared to us, of course. That as a result, this version of the game is more valuable than the American version, and is one of the more valuable Japanese GameCube games as a result. Not the most valuable, but it is in like top 5 most value. So this just popped up on eBay for like much less than what it typically sells for. And another thing too, which in case if you haven't seen Japanese GameCube games, they have like this nice little slip cover on the all covering up the case here. And then inside, once you open it up, it's just a very small case to hold the games. And you know what's interesting with the Zelda collection, they got 2 discs here. They got the main one here with like all the games, and the same one that we got, but they also got the Ocarina of Time and Master Quest disc as well here. We didn't get that at all, so yeah, that's pretty cool that they managed to get that as well, which they still even released like the standalone Ocarina of Time and Master Quest game, which I'm still sure in Japan that you had to pre-order Wind Waker in order to get that game, kind of like for us in the States for the OT Master Quest game. But yeah, very, very cool to like have this right here, knowing like the very limited release that this had for sure. So yeah, quite happy to have that right there. Alright, before we get to this one right here, this next one, this came in yesterday in the mail, and this one, it is Kirby Airride. I did play Kirby Airride on my cousin's GameCube back then. I'm sure she still has this game, but till now I own a copy myself, and I know, like, this game still holds up really well from what everyone says that have played it, that if you want, like, a different version of Mario Kart, then definitely consider this game right here. Especially for, like, the city trial mode. From what I hear, like, most people who have played, like, this and Mario Kart, they seem to prefer the city trial mode over, like, Mario Kart's battle mode, which is pretty cool for it in that regard. But, yeah, quite happy to finally have this game. Was, being sold for like less than what it goes for normally, so yeah, quite happy to have that. Alright, so this next game right here. So I thought this was going to be this month's highlight pickup, but that is not the case at all, which you'll see later on. I've did like earlier this month, I played through this game on my modded GameCube, and man, I loved this game so much. And I was planning to pick this game up eventually, though, but God, like, I was just so into this game when I was playing through it, that's like, screw it, I'm gonna get this game right now. Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. Now, if you guys know, this game is highly sought after if you're both into the GameCube and Fire Emblem as a whole. This game, it came out very late in the GameCube's lifespan. It barely like any advertisement was going for it, I'm sure, and that as a result, like, this game didn't sell well at all. Like, this is still, like, to this day, like, one of the worst selling Fire Emblem games, despite it being, like, what most fans say, one of the best Fire Emblem games to date. And I know for after that I finished this game earlier this month, this is possibly my favorite Fire Emblem game to date. Despite that the combat, like, overall, like, is really, really slow, even with, like, everything turned up to go fast, like, it's still slow, but the combat, the RPG mechanics, the turn-based combat, all of it was great, but my favorite part of this game, though, was the story. I was really surprised with, like, the overall theme of the story as a whole, that I just absolutely loved it. It's one that not a lot of games get into once you understand, like, the underlying subject matter of the game. It's one that, like I said, not a lot of games tap into, and they really should, because it can make a really interesting story. So, yeah, very happy to have Path of Radiance. It is definitely, like, my holy grail of the GameCube. Like, there are other ones that are more expensive than this, of course, that would be cool to own, but compared to, like, all GameCube games that are notoriously expensive on there, this is definitely up there in cost, but this is one that is definitely worth your time playing. Compared to, you know, like, Cube of War, like, that game is barely much to it at all. And, like, Gotcha Force, well, I haven't played it yet, but most people say it is pretty good. But it's really hard to justify spending $700 on that game right now. But yeah, this game, it is really, really worth your time playing, especially if you're a Fire Emblem fan. Do not pass up on this game if you ever do have the chance, or just emulate it, of course, because, you know, it can be a lot to digest. But, you know, speaking of Path of Radiance, this month I also got the Japanese version of Path of Radiance. I just saw this up for sale, and the seller just sent me an offer of it that was, like, much cheaper than what it normally sells for. Though, to let you know right offhand, Japanese version of Path of Radiance is much, much cheaper than the North American version right here. But regardless, I wanted to get this because of course, I want to get, like, Japanese versions of first-party Nintendo GameCube stuff, but this version is unique of Path of Radiance because they do have an exclusive harder difficulty mode in it, to where, like, I think we have, if I remember, there's like 2 difficulty options here. I think maybe one unlocks when you beat the game, but the Japanese version, they had a much harder difficulty option that we never got, interestingly enough. So yeah, I wanted to get this version in that regard, that it is, like, unique compared to our version in a way, and like I said, just wanted, like, a Japanese version of GameCube game. Alright, so that's that stuff right there. Let me, like, clear this stuff off so I can just make room for this, so give me 1 second. Alright, we're back. Sorry about that. So here's the rest of everything for the month here. First one, it is a PS1 game that may seem really odd at first, but trust me, this is, like, actually a pretty decent game. Spider the Video Game. That cover art's pretty interesting right there. But yeah, this game I just seen like pop up a lot on like hidden gem PS1 games that has a really interesting premise behind it. That let me just like read the back of it here for you. A mortally wounded scientist accidentally implants his consciousness in a nanotech marvel, a cybernetic spider. Now shrunk to the size of a bug, you must fight to survive an onslaught of hyper-deadly artificial life experiments from your own laboratory. Armed with microweapons, you explore the lab for clues about your enemies and the key to your escape. Move through a world turned upside down as you climb across the ceiling, floors, and walls of over 30 bizarre 3D levels. I'm not kidding, like this game does look really fun. Like it seems like a puzzle platformer type of game that, like I said, I see this pop up a lot in like hidden gem PS1 games that still pretty affordable to this day. So yeah, highly recommend you get this game. Alright, this just came in the other day in the mail, and this game, let me tell you for one thing before I get to it, so I'm sure you know what price charting is, like a site that we can use to like check up prices for like video games, mainly for like, you know, retro stuff that's no longer being manufactured anymore for like brand new copies. So you would go to that site to see like get an idea of like what older games are selling for. But I recently discovered earlier this month they do have like a subscription service you can sign up for, and it's for like $6 a month. It's like a collector tier type of thing. And I don't remember all the features, but the number one thing that I wanted it is that they will send you emails of like a new listing of this game, whether if it's on a Price Charting's website, which I also learned you can buy games straight from Price Charting's website, matter of fact, similar to like if it was posted on eBay. But it'll also send you notifications of a new listing on eBay if you wish list certain games to let you know is like, hey, this game that you wish listed just got a new listing on eBay that is selling for less than what it normally sells for. So yeah, with that, let me tell you, I've definitely taken advantage of that as a result, I got this game much cheaper than what it normally sells for. And what's interesting, this game I had to import from the UK, and yet this is a North American copy of the game. But even with shipping and import fees, this game still ended up being a lot cheaper than if I had just like bought it from a seller within the US. And that game is Persona 3 Portable. Oh, Persona 3 Portable, I've wanted this game for a long time, but it is up there for like some of the most valuable PSP games. But you know, like to me, that's okay, because if I've said in like previous videos, but Persona, I love this series so much. Like of all like the most recent JRPG series that are like more old school turn-based JRPGs, Persona is my favorite series to have come out in recent years that is still like that type of play style. That, yeah, thanks to this, I just need to get like the versions of Persona 3 on PS2, and then like Persona 1 and 2, which won't be fun to buy at all if you guys know the prices for those games. But yeah, like I said, I got this game like much cheaper than what it sells for than online or just like any store to this day. That I do like that the seller included this little note here, and right here it says, "Hi there, thank you for your purchase. Enjoy the best Persona game," with a smiley face. We'll see about that. I haven't played Persona 3 yet, but if you guys also saw earlier this month, this game, along with Persona 5, is being released on PC, as well as like Persona 4 Golden is being released on like every modern platform today. So yeah, if you guys still have not played the series at all, please, you absolutely must. If you're into the JRPGs and even like old school JRPGs, like do not pass up on this series at all. like I said, it is the series like Persona 5 Royal, Golden, and this game, Persona 3 Portable, is coming to like all modern platforms. That in I think it's October 21st, we're getting Persona 5 Royal first on like all platforms, and then throughout later on we'll get like Persona 4 Golden, which is already on a PC on Steam, but other platforms, and then Persona 3 Portable, that'll be released on every other platform since then. But for now, got Persona 3 Portable, the original version of it, which I do see this game getting more expensive now that Persona 3 Portable is now going to be available to a wider audience thanks to it being on all available platforms here pretty soon. That if people want like original physical copies of it, well, I can definitely see this game getting more and more expensive, so better strike now before it gets outrageous. Alright, this next game, I used to have this back then, and I am so happy to have this once again. Ape Escape 2. If you guys recall my previous videos, I've picked up the other Ape Escape games, and I freaking love this series so much that, as I always say, Sony better be releasing a new game in this franchise. It's cool that, you know, they are releasing them as part of like the new PlayStation Plus premium service with the new revamped one that started middle of this month. But come on, we need like a new game in this series, please. Just do something with it. I'm begging for anything, even if it's like a party game. Like, I want something with Ape Escape, please. But for the original trilogy of Ape Escape 1, 2, and 3, still very, very good platforming games that you guys shouldn't miss out on. Alright, this is another case of having that service with price charting that I talked about earlier with Persona 3 Portable there. And this also involved just like being at like the right place, right time for eBay. That this game was being sold for much less than what it should be being sold for, and this is a complete copy too. But from like the way that the listing was, is that the seller was like, he really needed to get rid of this game because maybe he was like moving or something like that, that he had to make sure like this was like sold and just gone. That I'm really happy to have this game, that as a result of getting this, I'm really motivated to get like the rest of the games in this series on the PS2. That is Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3. That is such a mouthful of a title. But yeah, if you guys know anything about this game, this is definitely a pretty valuable game on the PS2. This game is available on the Wii, but it's like much more affordable compared to the PS2 version. I'm sure like most people want this version because like the rest of the Dragon Ball Z games are on like PS2. Like there's about like, I think like either 9 or 10 Dragon Ball Z games on the PS2, which is quite insane. But what most people say, this is the best one on the system, as well as possibly the best Dragon Ball Z game ever made. Mainly due to like the huge roster of characters that's in this game, and a few other reasons. I can't tell you why, because I haven't played any of the Tenkaichi games. The only Dragon Ball Z game I have ever played is just Budokai 1 that you saw earlier. But yeah, regardless, like this was up for like the right price that was just much more affordable. That yeah, I'm definitely gonna capitalize on that. And it is a complete copy, that it does have the included bonus disc right there, along with, you know, standard copy of the game. The bonus disc, if you're unaware, it's basically like a collection of clips from the original Dragon Ball Z anime of like basically a bunch of fan favorite fights, basically. So yeah, if you're a Dragon Ball Z fan, probably definitely keep an eye out on this game. If you see it for a right price, definitely don't pass up on it. Alright, these last few games here, these are really, really special to me. So, this first one, if you know, I did make a video talking about this series like many months ago, but saw this game for like the right price that I am definitely comfortable with getting it now. That is Silent Hill 3. This is a complete copy of it that does have the soundtrack CD in it right here, as you can see, as well as just a standard copy of the game, of course. But yeah, Silent Hill 3, it is like most of other, you know, Silent Hill games these days, has just shot up in value so freaking much that the once I find them for like the right price that I'm comfortable with, like I'll definitely pick them up. That I don't see this series coming down in price anytime soon. One, it is a horror. This is a horror game series that most of the time when it comes to horror games, they never drop in value once they start having big price hikes and all that. But yeah, definitely glad to have this one here. That as a big Silent Hill fan, it's probably my second favorite game series ever. Definitely happy to have this game finally. Speaking of which, I also got, and this came in today for the day that I'm recording this video, that is Silent Hill 4 The Room. I never once played Silent Hill 4. I've only just, the only thing I've known about it is originally this wasn't supposed to be a Silent Hill game, but Team Silent, they were still the ones that made this game, but it was something different entirely. That as a result, when it came too close the launch day for this game, I guess it was like Konami, they decided, it's like, hey, to guarantee that we're going to sell a bunch of copies of this, let's call it a Silent Hill game. Because if you compare the gameplay of it in certain gameplay sections, it's not really much of a Silent Hill game, but still a very, very good horror game, though, that most people skipped out on this one back then. But these days, people are really, really appreciating for what this game was, though. Regardless if it takes place in Silent Hill or not, this still was a really, really good horror game. So yeah, and the thing to note, this is one of the cheaper Silent Hill games to get if you're going for PlayStation versions, that is. Xbox versions of Silent Hill games, they are more affordable and all that, but of PlayStation versions, this is one of the more affordable Silent Hill games. That thanks to this, I just have to get Silent Hill Origins and Shattered Memories on PS2, and that'll pretty much complete the entire series for me, as well as I also need to get, now that I remember, a Silent Hill Book of Memories, which, yay, that game sucks. Literally, it's not a real Silent Hill game, but yeah, hopefully I do find the rest of those games for the right price, especially for Shattered Memories, because that game is not going to be fun to buy at all. But anyways, moving on, so this last game right here, I never thought I would ever own this game, but to put things in perspective, this was a gift from my family. My whole family, my father, mother, brother, and my brother's girlfriend, they all chimed in on this game here. That earlier, middle of this month, I went back to my hometown, my original house that I grew up in, to celebrate for my mother finally retiring. Very, very happy for that. As long as she's worked at that bank, though, it's very, very good for her. She's finally just gonna have plenty of free time on her hands. But so the first thing that we did, we went to a bar in our next town that we grew up in, just to celebrate with other family there as well too. But once we came back to our house, that's when started. Mother was just opening up gifts and all that. But as I'm just sitting off on the side, standing next to my dad, he hands me a Walmart bag and just tells me, he's like, "Yo, look what I got for $2 at a garage sale," which he didn't. They had to buy this game outright for me, which, oh my god. And once I pulled, and it was are you serious? What did you get? So once I pulled it out, I just had to see the lower quarter of the case here, and that made my heart rate shoot up to 200. I still can't believe I got this, but anyways, like I said, this was a gift for my family, and I can't thank them enough for this game here. And this game, it's Kuan. Yeah, Kuan. Yeah, this game was a gift from my family. Like I said, I'm still shocked that I now own this game, and the fact that this was a gift. If you guys are unaware, Kuan, if you're into the PS2, this is, as of today, this is the most expensive, most valuable game on the system. Kuan on the PS2. Main reason why this is a survival horror game, and like most valuable PS2 games, they're like mostly survival horror games, like are the ones being like Silent Hill, Shattered Memories, Rule of Rose, which is like the next most expensive game on the system, which used to be the most expensive one, but Kuan like beat it though, and for reasons that later I'll explain. But yeah, so that's one factor, is like it's like a survival horror game. They just tend to be expensive on the PS2. And another thing, this game like didn't sell well at all. Like there were very few copies of this game that was printed for North America and Europe as well. Mainly due to like this game, when it first came out in Japan, it wasn't received well at all. Like even if you look at its Metacritic score, it's like 59 or something like that. Like a very like mediocre game, but still like an interesting game to play though, that I really do want to play the game as is though. But the primary reason why the game is so expensive and highly sought after is if you look at the back here, you'll see a familiar name right there, From Software. Yeah, From Software. The same developers that made the Armored Core games, or what they're mostly known for is Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, and most recently this year, Elden Ring. And if you guys have seen the news about Elden Ring, it is very, very successful. It has beaten Call of Duty, like last year's Call of Duty, in terms of sales. That for me and a lot of people, From Software is like the last good AAA game developer we have these days. Thought like CD Projekt Red was part of that, but nope, never mind. They're just as bad as like EA and Activision and all that stuff. But yeah, From Software, they, as you all know if you've played like their games, they're just phenomenal masterpieces, like, you know, the Dark Souls games, the Souls games overall, and Elden Ring, of course. But as a result, you know, because those games have a huge fan base these days, that has made people like really curious. So like, God, like From Software, there's such a good bunch of developers there. So what else have they made back then? We discovered this game right here, Kuan, on the PS2. This game is still exclusive to the PS2. There's no other version of it as well. And when people learned that this is essentially a Resident Evil-like game made by From Software, so curiosity is really high up there for this game. But when we also realized that this game didn't have a lot of copies printed and even didn't sell well at all, this game has just shot up in value so much that, as I stated earlier, this is the most expensive PS2 game as of today. So yeah, like as mentioned, this was a gift from my family. Like, words can't describe like how grateful I am for them doing that for me, because if you know like how much this game sells for nowadays, like that is a lot. That is so much to just gift for me for a game that I'm not gonna like use the disc here. I played it, it works, like the game, it's complete, the game is in like flawless, near brand new condition. It's like the game works and all that, but I've ripped the game to my PC, and there I'll install it onto a hard drive, which I did finish on my PS2, so that way I can still play the game that way, and it'll still be like the original experience of it, of course. Just another benefit that I'll have with it being on the hard drive, like the load times will be a lot better, of course. But yeah, at the end of the day, though, like for how much this goes for, this is just going to be nothing but just, you know, a display piece at the end of the day. But my father just, when we took our trip to, if I remember, it was like North Carolina. Oh wait, no, it was Bristol, Tennessee. That's where we went to recently. But me and him, we went to a flea market there to do some game hunting, which if you saw in my previous pickups videos, that's the same one where I picked up a Gran Turismo 4 at a flea market for like $1 or something like that, as well as the PC version of a Tomb Raider 1. but we were walking around in like one of the stores, and I saw like in like this one display case where I think it was Ape Escape 2. It was either Ape Escape 2 or 3 I saw in there, as well as Psychonauts I saw in there as well. And then a young kid came up who looked like he was like 11 or 12. He came up, and then I asked him, was like, hey, how much you selling those games for? Told me the price of them, then I declined on the offer there. But we ended up talking how that it led to where, like, he said that his uncle owns Kuan, that he has it up for display on his shelf and all that in a protective case and all. So then once we were done, me and my dad walked on, and then my dad asked me, what was that game that kid was talking about? Then I told him all about Kuan. And there, my dad told me, like, since then, he was going to try and get me the game, which... Dad, thank you. Thank you so much. But, yeah, that's Kuan for you. That's how I got it. I'll definitely treasure this game forever. It will stay in my collection forever. I'll make a video about it. It's like maybe like a review video. Like once I do get more stuff in that I can make more different types of videos for you, say like reviews, for example. This will definitely be up there on the list, and this will go out to my family. So yeah, that's Kuan for you. The #1 pickup that I well, it was a gift really, not much of a pickup, but definitely a highlight game that I've picked up on this channel here that hope you guys found that pretty interesting there. That as a result, if you do see this game for like much less than even like less than 200, pick it up, because it's, like I said, it's the most expensive game on the system. So yeah, that'll do it for this month's pickups. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for sticking with me through this whole video. This was definitely a long one, but like I said, bunch of good stuff here, like not just Kuan, but even earlier there, Path of Radiance, which I thought that was going to be the highlight, but never mind. Kuan topped that there. So yeah, very appreciate you guys could rate this video, share with your friends. Do subscribe if you haven't already, if you want to see more pickups in the future. Until then, guys, I will see you next time.